Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to create a Linux Mint virtual machine on your Windows PC. So as you can see right here, basically I have a program, but it's actually a computer running Linux. So it's a very useful tool for getting started with Linux if you don't want to install it on your main computer, or if you don't have another spare to install it on, or if you just want, a convenient way to access it for testing. So basically we have a fully functional Windows installation right here, basically just my normal PC, but then in here we have a fully functioning version of Linux. We can do our normal tasks on it. We can do whatever we want on it, and basically doesn't affect the actual computer other than performance and stuff like that. So as you can see, we can open up applications right here and use this system. It's a little slower than installing it on the computer, but it's a very useful way to get started. So let me show you how to do this. Alright, so the first thing you need to do is open up a browser and head over to the links in the description. There are two files you need to download. So the first one is VirtualBox, which is the program that we are using to create the virtual machine. So go to this and then download this option for Windows. So I'm just saving these to my desktop. And then go to the Linux Mint option. And what you want to do on this one is scroll down and choose a mirror right here. So I'm just going to go with this one, and I actually have that downloaded already, but basically you just want to choose one of those that's close to your area to get the best download speeds, but it doesn't really matter, you could really just choose anything. So once those are downloading, what you want to do is open up your task manager and go to the performance tab, and then what you want to do is click on your CPU and see virtualization enabled. If it's disabled, you have to enable it in your BIOS usually, and that varies from computer to computer, but I'm not going to show it here. But basically just make sure that this is enabled. If it's not, then you usually press a key at startup and it will go into a menu. You can enable it somehow, but you may want to look up instructions for your computer. Alright, so I can close this down right here, and then what you want to do is install VirtualBox. Just install it like any other program right here. So this is the installer, click yes, next. This is if I want to repair or remove it because I already have it installed, but basically just install it like anything else. Alright, so this is the Linux Mint file I downloaded. So this is the same file you would use if you were to install it on a regular computer. And you could really just do this with any Linux distribution. The installation steps may be a little different, but if you're new to Linux, I highly recommend Mint because it's very easy to use, very similar to Windows. It's just a very great distribution to get started with. Alright, so this is the program's icon, so just launch the VirtualBox program. And I already have a bunch of virtual machines right here, but basically this list will just be blank. You'll have just the tools option right here. So you just want to click new, and then you want to name your operating system. So I'm just going to name it Linux Mint Tutorial, right log that. And then you want to choose the folder, so you can just leave this as the default unless you have multiple drives in your system and you want to use a different drive. You can just leave these. It will be on Ubuntu by default, but that is fine because Linux Mint is basically Ubuntu, just a different interface. Click next and then choose the RAM. So this depends on the amount you have in your computer. So again, you can go to Task Manager. Basically, you just want to see I've got a lot of RAM right here, but you just want to use a portion of these unless you are using some intensive applications. There's no need to go over 8, but if you only have like 8 in your computer, you will need to do less. I'm just going to set it right there and then click next. and then click create a virtual hard disk. So basically this will create a hard drive for the virtual machine, and it's just a file on your computer, it's not an actual drive. So click create and then just leave this as the default. Click next and then just leave this as well, and then you can select the size right here. So this, it won't always take up this much space, but this is like the maximum amount of space on your actual drive that the virtual machine can use. So 10 is probably like the minimum, but I would recommend going higher, so I'm just going to set it like that. Although you may want to go even higher if you are going to be using these a lot, but it won't be using all that space all the time. Click create, go to settings, go to system, then go to processor, and then you want to up this ideally. You don't necessarily have to, but it will improve the performance a lot. So up these to at least 2, depends on how many cores your CPU has, or actually how many threads it has. I'm just going to leave it at 2, that's what my virtual machine was that I was showing you earlier. Not the best performance, but it's okay. And then what you want to do is go to display, and then you want to enable the acceleration right here, so just tick this checkbox, and then you want to up the video memory. You don't need it a lot, depends on the tasks you're doing, but just for general usage, I don't know, I'll just set it there for now. Alright, so just click OK, and then click start. Then you have to select a startup disk. So what you want to do is click this icon right here, then click add, go to the location you saved your file, the Linux Mint file you downloaded, so I saved it to my desktop, so I just select it right here. So this is basically just a virtual drive. You click choose and you click start. Now just wait for this to boot up. Alright, so now that it's booted up, what you want to do is double click on install Linux Mint. And once it loads, you want to choose your language, and then you will come to this. And so what I would recommend doing is just checking that. Click continue, and then you will come to this. So you want to choose erase disk and install Linux Mint. This will not erase the disk on the computer. This is just that virtual disk that we created for it. So it's just a file. So just choose erase disk. It won't modify your computer at all. Click install now. Now you click continue just to confirm. Then you select your time zone and you come to this screen. So you want to put in your name. So Fortnan, and then your computer's name. You can't put any spaces. Pick a username, Fortnan is fine. Then pick a password right here. So that's not a very good password, but this is just an example. Then you want to click login automatically or require my password to log in. I usually just choose login automatically because I'm already logged into my regular computer, so it's not like I need to verify my identity to log into this one. So I just choose that normally. Then click continue and this will install. And I will come back when it is done. Alright, so that part probably takes the longest in this whole process, but we're almost done. Now what we have to do is just click restart now. Then when you come to the screen, just press enter and wait for it to boot up. We're not done yet. So you will come to this window right here and you can take a look at some Linux Mint stuff, but that's not what I'm going to talk about right now. You can just play around with these. I just want to get the installation complete. So what you want to do is click on the devices tab at the top. Then you want to click on this, insert guest edition CD image. Then what you want to do is just click cancel right here. I would rather just do this manually. So double click on this CD icon. So basically what we're doing is installing some drivers for like the graphics and stuff. So when we like resize the window, for example, it will resize that. So what we want to do in this is just right click and click open in terminal. Then what you want to do is type sudo dot slash capital V, and then you can do tab. It will put box there, then capital L, tab, and it autofills the rest. Then what you want to do is enter and then enter your password, whatever that was. Right after the slash, don't do a space. Once you see the terminal prompt again, that means that it is done. So what you can do is just reboot the system and you will have a functioning version of Linux Mint. I decided to show you a few more things right here. So the first one is shared clipboard. So what you do is go to devices, shared clipboard, and then just enable the bidirectional option. Basically what this allows you to do is copy text from one computer and paste it on the other. So you could go from the real computer to the virtual computer or vice versa. Then the next option is drag and drop. Same thing, bidirectional, and you can basically copy files. So let's just try this. Copy, and there it is right there. So that's a very useful thing to have. I was going to show you shared folders, but I couldn't get that working. So I guess if you want to transfer files, you can use the drag and drop method. Anyway, that's it for today's video. If this has helped you out, make sure to leave a like. And if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. We will see you next time.